So I do this every New Year's, either early in the new year. It's kind of a back to basics class. So, and this is a beginner's class anyway, so that'll work just great. Um, we'll go ahead and find a good comfortable seat. And if anybody needs to elevate, you can sit on something a little bit higher. I'm sitting cross-legged here with one shin just in front of the other. And before we get into stillness, let's just start with some movement. We'll make some circles. Yeah. And it might make sense, depending on how quickly you're going, to inhale on the way forward and to exhale on the way back. It might make sense to let the arms add in almost like a little push-pull one at a time, kind of a stirring action. Yeah. And then let's pause here and we'll reverse the direction we're going. And oftentimes it just feels different going the other way. You might notice, different spots in there. And very gradually, let's let the movement become smaller and smaller and smaller until we end up just right in the center there. And then we'll pause and let's change the leg that you've got in front, which usually feels a little funny. And we'll take the hands just on the very top of the pelvis here and give yourself a tilt forward and back. Do that a couple of times. And when it feels like you tip just over the sitting bones here, let's pause there. And keep your hands where they are. Give a little push down with the hands and lengthen up long through the sides of the waist. Allow the eyes to close. Let the hands relax just on the legs. And take a few moments for yourself to really arrive into your practice. Notice the way your body touches down. Where do you make contact? Can you give just a little extra press down wherever you're meeting the floor or your props? And at the same time, grow tall and long through the crown of the head. Just take a moment here to honor where you are, right here and right now. Allow the head to bow down and the eyes to blink open. We'll return the head to center here and stretch the arms just up and overhead. Yeah, nice big reach. And then I'll mirror you. Let's go over to the right side. Right hand comes down, left arm comes overhead. You can stay just like this if you wish, or if you want to add on some movement. Inhale to turn up, chest towards the ceiling. And then exhale to turn down a little bit towards the floor. Take that a few more times. You can experiment here. Sometimes it feels nicer to have a little bend in the elbow, or it might feel nicer to really reach through the arm. You choose. Great. And then let's come back up to center and we'll swap sides. So the left arm comes down, right arm comes over. You choose if you're keeping still or if you're adding in this rotation up and down. That's it. On the next inhale, let's come all the way up to the center here. Give the wrists some circles as you lower the arms down. Great. And then let's do one more thing, hands on the knees. And just start to move through cat-cow. So we did this a second ago, mostly just in the pelvis. But now let it be the whole spine. And if it feels good to really exaggerate the movement, it might. Some of you might prefer just to keep it small, so you choose. Great, friends. Next time we head back to center, let's pause there. And we'll undo the legs. Just stretch the legs out in front and move the feet and the ankles any which way. Just to, yeah, crack, crack. Oh, me too. And then, you know what we never do anymore is wiggle the toes. Give the toes a good wiggle. Now we're going to spend some time on the feet. So we want nice open feet. All right, friends, let's turn over. We'll meet in the all fours position, and do feel free to have any extra cushion under the knees if you need that. And let's have a little peek at the hands. You separate the fingers wide enough so that you can see the mat in between each finger, but not so wide that it's straining the hands. And then from here, press down a little bit more through the pads of the fingers. See if you feel that work up through the forearms. And let's do this. Let the weight shift a little bit forward and then a little bit back. Not too much, just a little bit. And notice how when the weight shifts forward, it goes towards the knuckles of the hands instead of the wrist. And next time you shift forward, can you keep that idea? As you shift back again, keep the weight more in the knuckles of the hands. Yeah, let's keep that at least for the next few rounds of cat-cow. Breathe in. And as the exhale happens, let the back round, let the head lower. And on the inhale, we come the other direction. Right, and just continue this a few more times on your own pace, own breath. I'll add just a little something to think about here. As you come into your cow pose, the heart pulls forward, draw the shoulder blades down the back so you get a little extra room. And then as you round into cat, that goes away. Do it every time you come into cow. The shoulder blades move down the back. Just a few more rounds here. Let's pause, and we'll widen the knees a little bit. Head back into child's pose. And once you get there, go up onto the fingertips so the wrists lift and the palms of the hands lift. Give them that a little squeeze, little scrunch action with the fingers. Yeah, and then we'll put the elbows down on the floor. Flip your hands over and just curl the fingers in and out a couple of times. You can bend at the wrist if that feels good. We'll take a few stretches for the toes here. So I'll suggest for this first one, grabbing the blocks. And let's tuck the toes under here and lift the knees up onto the blocks. We're in this sitting position. Now, if anybody needs to keep the arms forward, absolutely fine. If you're good to sit all the way up, you can. And then sometimes for this one, the pinky toe is close but not quite there. You can use your hands to help out. Great, so here we are. Can you shift your weight back just a little bit in the upper body so that you feel that squashing action through the toes, the soles of the feet. And then we'll change something just a little bit to alter the stretch of the toes. Scooch the knees a little further forward and see how now it's more the upper part of the toes that are bent. Yeah. How often do we do stuff like this? Very. Right, and then we'll come out of this one. Let's take the hands forward, take the knees off the blocks, and just give the feet a little bit of a shake. Yeah, we'll come back and we'll do another version later. Let's let the blocks just out of the way. Reach the right leg back with the toes tucked under and just give yourself a little push-pull, a little back and forth, calf stretch, through the Achilles. And then let's pause here. Spin the right heel down to the floor, pivot the left foot a little to the left, and raise the right arm. Maybe this side stretch. Let's take the right arm overhead, and you can look down at the floor. Think of one long line between the right fingers and the right outer foot. And then down. We come hand to the floor, knee to the floor. Stretch the left leg back, and just the same thing. Back and forth we go a couple of times. And then let's pause here. Turn the heel to the floor, turn the chest open, raise the left arm. And then we'll take the same arm, just up overhead. You can turn to look your face down towards the floor. One long line between the fingertips and the outer foot. Yeah, and then down comes the hand, down comes the knee. Back to child's pose. Let's have toes tucked under again and do the spider fingers again with the hands. So from here, we'll do a little bit of a spinal undulation. Let's set the hands down flat. Press into your mat, round the back first, coming through cat. Let the toes draw back, the chest come forward. We'll bend the elbows and then just very gradually come down. And then on the inhale, we'll peel up, broaden the collarbones, little cobra. Go back to child's pose. You can have the toes tucked or straight, you choose. And we'll do the same pathway a few more times. So let's round to come forward and then unround, come down. And then on the inhale, we peel ourselves up. And exhale, we're back to child's pose. Let's take it last round here, last time. Now on the way back to child's pose for this one, let's have the toes tucked under and don't go all the way back with the hips. Keep them up a little bit. Let's find that nice hand position again, so space in between the fingers. You lift the knees off the floor, and before we straighten the legs, press the mat forward, sending the hips back. Yeah, that's it. And then slowly, slowly let the legs start to go straighter. And if you're anything like me, you might want to pedal here, just a little hamstring stretch. Maybe the hips take a little side to side. All right, friends, let's pause, widen your stance a little bit. Bend the knees and walk your hands back towards the legs. Just prop up for a second with the forearms on the thighs. You might want to circle the wrists and wiggle the fingers after being on the hands. And then let the hands relax. Press down through the heels. Use the inhale to rise all the way up we come. And exhale the arms down alongside you. Yeah. So let's reset our stance. Feet a little bit apart, just hips with distance. Very slight bend in the knees, and start to move the hips around in a circle, a little hula hoop asana. And as you're taking the movement, notice the weight shift going on your feet. Yeah. Inner edge of one, the outer edge of the other, the front of the foot, the back of the foot. Let's go the other direction. And then we'll gradually let the movement settle. And now this time, let's go, instead of circles, just a forward back. And see if you can feel the space where you're right at the front of the heel. Pause next time you get there. And then as if you could just draw spikes down through that part of the foot. Draw it down, and then let's lengthen up through the arms. So the heels are rooting down, the arms are lifting up. Without lowering the arms, can you relax the inner shoulders a little bit? Yes, yogis. Inhale, we're here. On the exhale, let's come down, forward fold. Always find here to bend the knees. Take a halfway lift, moving the chest forward. You can straighten the legs or keep them bent. And then let's come down, do bend the knees. Spike down through the heels. Inhale all the way up and come. Use the exhale to come back down, maybe bending the knees. Halfway up we come, chest moves forward, shoulder blades down and back. And then we come down, do bend the knees here. Press down through the heels. Inhale, we rise all the way up. And then we're coming back down. This time will be different. So down we come. Let's do one more of the halfway lifts. You got it. And then lower yourself down. We'll walk the hands forward until we get into plank pose. We're going to be here for a little bit. Let's do this first one with the knees down on the floor. And just a tiny bit here, let the chest sink towards the floor. And then move the chest forward and the shoulder blades down the back so you have more room in the neck. Press down through the hands as we lift. Yes, yogis. We'll just stay here for a moment. Within the position, bend the elbows just a teensy bit and point the tips of the elbows back as you do that. Awesome. And then let's lower all the way down to the belly. Yeah. Nice and easy here. Make a little pillow for your forehead. You can rest the head on the hands. Lengthen the legs back and down one at a time. And then from here, friends, just create a slight little lift through the belly so that the pelvis tilts down. And then we'll lift the legs up off the floor. They're not going to go too high, just a little bit. And lower the legs down. And let's do that 2 more times. So the legs lift, the belly's a little lifted. And down they come, and last one. Awesome. Next time the legs release down, just create a little wobble, just a little side-to-side movement here. We'll stay on the belly and add in a quad stretch. So bend up the right knee and hold on to the foot or the ankle or whatever you got back there. And now as you're in this position, a few things to think about. Can you press the center of the right thigh downward towards the mat, but at the same time lift up a little bit through the low belly? Think of drawing the navel forward towards your chin. And if you want here, you can experiment with what the foot is doing. Maybe you try a point and flex of the foot, or maybe you find one position that works best for you. You choose. And then we'll release that and change to side 2, bending up the left knee. Let's find the foot or the ankle. From here, just press the center of the thigh downward, and at the same time, lift up through the navel and try to draw forward. If you want to experiment with some foot movement, feel free to do that. Let's release the leg. Take another little wiggle here, just a little side to side. That's it. And then from here, friends, we'll head back into downward dog. Go ahead and just get there, and we'll make a few adjustments once you're in the position. Yeah. So this first one will be a little adjustment for the shoulders. Don't move the hands. Bend the knees a little bit. Keep the knees bent and bend the elbows a little bit. At first, let them go wide. And now pull the elbows in towards the midline. We'll rotate the arms. Press down through the base of the thumb. And then let the arms re-lengthen. Let the hips drop back. And if it feels right to go straighter in the legs, you can. If you'd rather keep the knees bent, do that instead. Yes, yogis. This time let's head to the front of the mat. So bring the feet forward, just feet to the hands. Feel the soles of the feet and the way they meet the floor, a little bend in the knees. Press down through the front of the heels, spike them down as we inhale all the way we come. And then the arms release down alongside you. All right. So you're going to go through that sequence again. We'll start at the front of the mat, and this time if you feel good with a straight-legged plank, we'll stay there. So root down through the feet, front of the heels, press down deep into the earth. Up come the arms. That'll be an inhale. Exhale down. We come forward fold. Feel free to bend the knees. Take your halfway lift here, collarbones wide, shoulder blades down the back. And then down we come. Hands meet the floor. Let's go back to plank pose. And again, feel free to have the knees down if you need. Same instructions as before. So let the chest sink just a teensy bit at first. And then pull the chest forward, the shoulder blades down the back. And then press into the floor and lift. Yeah, gorgeous. Just bring your awareness to the feet. Don't look at them. But try to make the soles of the feet straight up and down. Yes, friend. And then we'll put the knees down on the floor. Let's come all the way down to the belly. We'll give the hands a little break in a second here. Stretch the arms back. Palms of the hands facing up. Curl the fingers in and make a loose fist. And then just bend at the wrist and undo. Do that a few times. Yeah. And then from here, friends, let's lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor. Stretch back through the arms, stretch back through the fingers, and just give the fingers a slow little wiggle. That's it. Okay, reset. So hands come right underneath the shoulders. Press yourself back. Let's go about halfway back to child's pose. Keep the toes tucked under and the hips lifted. Same little arm adjustment we did earlier in down dog. So bend the elbows out to the side. Let them turn in towards the midline. Press down through the base of the thumb. And then from here, we'll lift the knees, lengthen the arms, send the hips back, lengthen the legs. Adho Mukha Svanasana. You got it. To get out of this, we'll meet in a standing forward fold. Feet and hands come towards each other any way you want to do that. Root down through the feet, front of the heels, press down. Use the inhale and rise. And exhale to release the arms. Okay. So for our next sequence, we'll do some lunges, both with a straight leg and with a knee down. If you need any kind of padding for that, you can set it up. I always like blocks. You can have them or not have them at the front of the mat. So let's find again our mountain pose. If you wanted to stand with the feet all the way together, great. If you prefer a little space, I'm going to keep a little space. And then from here, find again the front of the heels. Just spike down, straight into the floor. At the same time, up we come, lengthen up through the arms. Let's relax a little through the inner shoulders, but not so much that the arms push down. Yes, just enough. Inhale. Exhale, we're down, forward fold, maybe bending the knees. Let's take a halfway lift, heart moves forward. Lower yourself down, right leg steps back. Let's keep the knee off the floor for the moment. Good, and if you ever start to slip, you can just take the socks off. All right, friends, from here in this position, let's pay attention to the feet for a second. So on the left foot, can you press down that same place right at the front of the heel? And when you do that, you might feel some work go all the way up through the back of the leg. And then on the back leg, let's do this. Go a little forward and a little back, just a couple of times. That's it. And when it feels like the sole of the foot is more or less straight up and down, pause in that position. It might not be exact. Yeah, you got it. Move the pelvis back. Without moving your hands, try to pull the arms back so that the chest moves forward, the collarbones widen. That's it. On the back leg, think of lifting up a little more through the inner thigh. All right, yogis. Now this is a fair amount of work. We're going to make it more if you choose. Let's go lighter in the hands, so just the fingertips on the blocks or the floor. And then the right arm can go straight back without changing anything else. And then down it comes. If you did that, do the left arm, same thing. And down it comes. Once it comes down, let's release the back knee down the floor. Walk the left foot a little wider and bring the arms to the inside of the left leg. I'm going to have my back toes straight. You could be tucked or straight, whatever you like. And let's come back to those circles that we did. Remember in the beginning of the class? Well, for this one, I love a little height for the hands. You might prefer more than I have or less. You could try it without and see if you like that. Good. Let's go a couple times the other direction. Nice juicy circles here. Nice job, guys. Let the circling just very gradually start to settle until we end up back in the center. We'll take a breath in and use the exhale to bring the hips back and go straighter in the front leg. Let's peel the toes up off the floor. And on the inhale, we shift it forward. Do that a couple more times, just nice and easy back and forth. We're going to change our position here. So the next time we pull back, let's stay. Take the arms, start to walk them over to the left. And you could even go outside of the left leg if that's possible for you. And then we'll spread out wide through the toes. Can you draw back through the pinky toe, like you're trying to pull it towards you? And right at the ball of the big toe, press that away from you, just slightly. Oh yeah, nice job. Stay in the position, and then your pelvis, take a teeny little side to side, like you're wagging your tail cautiously. Yeah. Now we're going to do one more thing on this side. Let's let the pelvis settle. Relax the foot and then start to bring the sole of the foot towards the floor. You may or may not actually get there. And then we'll bend at the ankle so the toes bow to the right. Yeah, do you feel that? Top of the foot, side of the shin, tibialis anterior. Yeah, breathe. Of course, we breathe. All right, friends. Just let the foot relax. Reset the arms. Let's come back to the inside again. Bend the front knee and then tuck the back toes under. And to get out of this, let's move the blocks out of the way. It's a little bit awkward, but just swing the left leg wide and then back, downward facing dog pose. And let's just be here for a second. If you prefer to be in child's pose instead, that's fine. Knees to the floor. Just take a few easy breaths. And then let's set up for side two. Come all the way to the front of the mat, both feet forward at first. And then a halfway lift from there as a transition. On the way down, we'll step left leg back, toes tuck under, knee off the floor for the moment. Side two. Yeah. Now let's actually start this one paying attention to the back leg. Find a way, go a little back and forth on the foot. Sorry, just a little push-pull there. And then when it feels like it's straight up and down, pause there. It might not be exact, but do your best. And on the back leg, can you lift up through the inner thigh? Yeah, now on the front leg, can you press down right through the front of the heel like we did in mountain pose? Without moving your arms, try to pull them back as the chest moves forwards. Nice solid position. Yeah, you got it. We'll be here a few breaths. You choose, you can stay with arms down or you can lighten up, maybe going under the fingertips. And if that's still feeling okay, just the right arm, let it come back. And down. And then the left side back. And down, nice work. Let's lower the back knee down to the floor. Walk the right foot a little bit wider and take your arms to the inside, blocks or no blocks. And then we'll start those circles again. Yeah, just let it be smooth, easy movement. That's it, friends. Let's change the direction. And we'll pause straight back in the center. Inhale, we'll stay. And on the exhale, we'll shift back, bring the hips back, lifting the right toes. And then on the inhale, we'll shift forward again. So do that a few more times, just at your own pace. Then we'll pause. The next time we shift back, the front leg is your rendition of straight. And then let's start to walk the arms over towards the right. And if you want to go all the way outside of the right leg, you can. If that's not working out, just be on the inside. Spread out a little more through the toes. Draw back through the pinky toe. And right at the ball of the big toe, press that forward slightly. Yeah. Keep doing that and let the pelvis take a tiny little wag, side to side, just a little bit. Nice juicy stretch in the hamstrings. And then we'll let the wag settle down. Relax the foot and start to bring the sole of the foot towards the floor. It might not come all the way. And then very delicately here, you'll bend at the ankle so the toes bow in towards the midline. Oh, here it is. Yeah, this is one I think maybe I don't do it enough. Some places you might feel this on the side of the shin, the top of the foot, anywhere kind of along that line. Right, guys. Get out of this. Let's just relax the foot. Bring the arms back to the inside and rebend the front knee. Let's tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and if you are on the blocks, move them. Widen, little step, just that kind of awkward step back into downward facing dog pose. Yeah, and we'll stay here. You can be completely still, or you could do a little inhale forward, exhale back. You could go to child's pose if you prefer. So take a moment just for yourself. And then to get out of this, friends, let's meet in a forward fold. Any way you want to arrive, it's fine. We'll find that spike down through the front of the heel, root down to rise up. Inhale all the way up and come. And then on the exhale, we'll release the arms. All right, let's stay here for a moment and take again that shift forward back just to find that. Okay. And then again, when we find the front of the heel, stay there. So we'll shift around a little as we transition, but then we'll find that squat again. Let's shift over to the left side. Let the right leg turn out. We're coming into tree pose. You can either stay down with the foot on the floor, or you could come up below the knee or above the knee. Not on the knee, but somewhere above or below. And then once we're there, find the standing foot. Can you press down right at the front of the heel, firmly down, like you're growing a taproot, really deep. Yeah, and then if you'd like here, you can reach the arms up. If you prefer hands in prayer or on the hips, absolutely fine. Rooting down as we rise up. Keep the outer left hip hugging inward towards the midline. Work, you guys. And a nice and easy release, but try not to fidget when you come down. Just pause. Take a breath, maybe even close the eyes. Do our second side. So let the left leg turn out. Up we come into our Vrikshasana pose. You choose how high you're going with it, but don't go right on the knee. Yes, yogis. And then once you've found it, find the front of the right heel and press down right there like you're growing a big root down deep into the earth. Keep that going, and if you'd like, you can grow up and tall through the arms. Your arms have a better position for now. Do that instead. Yes, friends, see, when our root keeps growing down, can you also hug in a little through the outer right hip? Nice work. On our way down, once again, we'll just pause, no fidget, release the leg, release the arms, maybe close the eyes. Just take a good, solid breath. And then from here, let the eyes blink open. Let's come to the front of the mat if you're not already there. And our next little sequence will do lunge into a warrior two and some other stuff. So let's root down again, right at the front of the heels. Inhale, up come your arms. Exhale, down we go. It's a forward fold, maybe bending the knees. Inhale, it's a halfway lift. That's it. Down we come. Let's take the right leg back, lunge pose. Just to get there, we're not going to stay. From here, turn the back heel down to the floor. Let's window up into warrior two. I can have my back to you for a second. And then let's do some dynamic movements. So turn the palms up. As we inhale, lengthen out the front leg and lift the arms. And as we exhale, rebend and send the arms wide. Do that a few times. Can you coordinate the arms, the leg, the breath, everything moving together? Yes, friends. Let's take last round, and then we'll meet with the arms wide and the front knee bent, and we'll make a few adjustments once we're in the position. First, on the back leg, can you press down through the heel and try to press the heel towards the back edge of the mat? Yeah. Oh yeah, now's a good time to get rid of those socks. Keep that on the back leg, and then on the front leg, just a tiny bit for a second, can you lift the heel? Bend the knee a little more. Think of inner groin to inner knee lengthening forward, and then set the heel down. Yeah, press down just right at the front of the heel on the left side as well, and feel that action just kind of growing all the way up through the legs. Great. And then to move through the side angle from here, take your backhand to the hip. Shift forward and deepen the left hip crease. Yeah, I'm going to take forearm to thigh. If you're working with a different variation here, that's fine. If you're forearm to thigh, press the arm into the leg to lift a little bit. Take the back arm back and do a little half circle down towards the floor and then up alongside you. Nice. Once again, on the back leg, press down and out through the heel and grow long through the right tips of the fingers. We're going to come up just for a moment. Let's do that on an inhale. Straighten the front leg, lift the front arm. And then we'll rebend, arms to the floor, back heel turns up. Here we are back in our lunge pose. Nice work. Let's get rid of the blocks if you're on them and move back into downward facing dog. Yeah. Great. Just reconnect to yourself here. Again, if you wanted to add in some movement, you could inhale forward either part of the way to plank or all the way, and exhale back. Nice job, you guys. Let's come all the way to the front of the mat, 2 feet forward. Just again, halfway lift is a transition. And then on the way down, left leg steps back. We set up our lunge on the second side. That's it. Back heel turns down to the floor. And on your own timing here, we'll windmill up into warrior 2 pose. Take whatever time you need to get there. Yeah. And then let's add this breath with movement. Flip the palms to face up. Inhale, we rise, straightening the front leg. Exhale, we rebend. And take that a few more times, just on your own. Arms and leg and breath all coordinating together. All right, friends, let's pause the next time the arms are wide. We'll be in warrior 2. Pay attention to the back heel and press down and back. Feel that go all the way up the leg into the outer hip. And then on the front leg, just a tiny bit, lift the heel for a second. And then bend the knee a little bit more, lengthening the inner thigh. Down comes the heel, and then press down straight at the front of the heel. Yeah. All right, and then as we move into side angle backhand, let's take it to the hip for a second. Deepen the front hip crease as we shift forward to come down. I'm setting forearm to thigh. You could do that or a different variation. That's it. And then we'll take the other arm, little half circle. Here we go. Outer back heel presses down and back as the fingertips lengthen. This beautiful long line. To get out, we'll come up on an inhale, straighten the front leg and lift the front arm just for a second. Yeah. And then down we come, rebend the knee, lift the back heel, lunge into downward facing dog pose. That's it. And we'll be here for a moment. Well done, you guys. Now we're going to do one more. Let's do plank. So let's come forward to plank. If you need to put the knees down, it's fine. And then same little shoulder transition. So the chest lowers just a smidge. Pull the chest forward, shoulder blades down, and then press into the floor and lift. Excellent, excellent. Stay here, friends. Bend the elbows, bend the knees just a tiny bit, and we'll remain in the pose. Just what you wanted to hear. Okay. And then let's come down, knees to the floor, hips back, child's pose. Stay here, let's support the forehead. That might be stacking your forearms, it might be grabbing a block, it might be setting up like this on the elbows. And just let the forehead take a little side to side movement, like you're saying no. Let the movement settle. And then let's reset back to down dog. This will just be a transition to get up. So from your downward facing dog, we'll meet standing forward fold. And then from there, you'll drive down through the heels to come all the way up to stand. Or maybe you just stay in child's pose. Absolutely fine. Great, friends. So from your position, those of you who are standing, let's separate the legs, not too wide, just a bit wider than you normally stand. And we'll do some full body movement with the breath here. So let the knees bend, not too deep, just a little bit. Let the back round and let the arms curl in. And as the inhale happens, take the whole amount of inhale to lengthen the legs, lengthen the arms, lift the chest. And the whole amount of exhale to come back in again. Yeah. Just like a plant that's growing, opening up. And then at the end of the day, it curls back in away from the sun. Continue this a few more times, just on your own pace. And feel free to experiment a little bit. So when you open, maybe you open kind of on the side. Or maybe you open more of a twist, more of a rotation. Every time we close, let's come back into that same contained little shape. But then every time we open, feel free to make it a little different. And you take the whole amount of breath to do it. Let's take 3 more here. And after this last time we curl in, just bring yourself back into a mountain pose. Let's take a moment here. If it feels all right to close your eyes, you can. And maybe rest a hand over your heart, a hand over the belly. Let's reconnect. Hey friends, let's reopen the eyes, release the arms. And we'll come down onto your mat into a position that looks like this. So the hips are on the floor, the legs are a little forward, the arms are back. We'll do a figure 4 in this position. Now, if anybody needs to do it on your back instead, that's totally fine. If you're going to join me here, lean back a little bit, and we'll cross the right one over first, activating, flexing through the foot. And then you'll press down through the hands to sit up tall. Now, if you've got tight hips, I kind of do today, maybe this is it. Maybe some of you will lift the pelvis, scooch it forward, and then come down again. So you can, if you do that, do it little bits at a time. So yeah, exactly. Collarbones are wide. And here we are. If it feels good to add in a tiny little rock from side to side, that's an option. Swing into the right outer hip a little bit. Okay, and then to get out of this, let's bend the elbows, lean back a little, undo the leg. And sometimes the hands get a little tired, so you can do a few little wrist circles, a few little finger wiggles, anything like that. Yeah. Okay, second side. So let's lean back a little to start. Left one crosses over. Activate through the heel. Press down through the hands and sit up tall. Try to rock forward on the pelvis. And then maybe this is enough. Maybe you lift the hips and scooch a little forward towards the right heel. Sides even tighter. You could be still, or you could add in that small little rock. Find in the traditional version of pigeon, a lot of things can go awry, but in this one, you're kind of pinned in there, so the alignment works itself out. All right, friends, let's let that one go. Bend the elbows, undo the leg, put both legs long, and just give them a little asana shake here. All right, so we'll come down onto your back. We'll start with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. Lengthen the left leg all the way long and keep the right knee bent and walk the right foot just a little wider on the mat, about as wide as the edge of the mat. And then from here, you'll press the foot down into the floor and let the right half of the pelvis lift, but it's not a too high lift. And then you'll come back down and place the right foot somewhere else, anywhere else, a little closer, a little further, and do it again. So you're going to do that a few times, and every time you come back down, you'll put the foot in a new spot. You're not even limited to the mat here. If you want to take it off the mat, you could. And an option to add on, and if you do the add on, let's take the left arm up by your head. Just kind of let it relax there. And now I'll say this one, we'll go slow the first round and then quicken it up. So the right foot presses down, and as it does, the right arm sweeps the floor and comes also up by your head. You'll lift the right heel and you'll roll over so you're kind of sideways. And then you'll come back down. Left arm stays, right arm sweeps down. And then same thing, you'll set the foot in a new spot. As you press, the hip lifts, the heel lifts, and you'll roll over. And then we come back. So take that a couple more times. Go as slow as you like. Sometimes just ooey gooey slow feels really good. But then sometimes it feels better to do more of a continuous back and forth. So you decide. Let it be luxurious. I don't know about you guys. I feel like I could do just this for the entire class, and I'd be very satisfied. Yeah, so we're gonna do the second side. Take your time to come back to middle, and then maybe just a little pause. When we move over to the left leg, let's just do a few rounds without the arm at first, just to get a smaller sense of the movement. So you press into the foot and the hip lifts, and you don't go too far over. And then each time you go, you'll step the foot in a new spot. Notice how the movement travels up the spine. You might feel something going on in the shoulders. And then if you're adding in the second part, let's start with the right arm up by your head. And then as the left leg is doing its thing, let the left arm sweep the floor. Coming up, you lift the left heel, and then we're over on the side. And then we undo, and again, put the foot in a new spot. Check it out. Take whatever pace feels right for your body at this moment. And when you feel like you've come to the end of the line, start to wind it back down, come back to center. And then let's pause for a moment, just with the body long. Take a breath. We'll do two more. It's a different pose, but same idea. So take the arms out and up and your legs out so you're in a big letter X, big letter X. And then the right hand and fingers will start to curl in and the arm just gradually peels off the floor. You'll slide the right arm across the chest and then over the left arm, and you'll roll here. The right hip will lift, but the right toes, the right big toe at least stays on the floor. And then imagine somebody's pulling your leg down away from you, and then the hip comes back to the floor. The arm sweeps the other arm and the chest, and then we're back in our letter X. I'm going to say that on the second side, but you go at your own pace. The left arm starts to peel up. We cross over the chest, we cross over the other arm, and then we roll, but the left big toe stays connected. And then somebody's pulling on the left leg. This is my favorite part. And then the hip comes back down. We sweep the arm. We sweep the chest back into our letter X. Now let's go again. Once more on the right, once more on the left. And I won't say anything, or I'll try not to. One once we're back in the letter X, stay there and just take another breath. And now for this one, it'll be a side bend. Slide the right leg over to the left leg. And if it doesn't go all the way, just take the left leg in a bit. And then slide the right arm over to the left arm. So our whole body is in a banana shape, a little bit of a crescent. It might feel good for some of you to cross the right ankle over or the left ankle over. They're both valid choices. I'm going to also, this is a valid choice is to not do that and just keep the feet side by side. If you wanted to here, you could take the right hand and just grasp. I meant the left hand grasps the right forearm and you pull over a little to the side. Put your breath and your attention into the right side of the body. And if the feet are hooked, unhook. Let's return back to our letter X just for a moment and take a breath. You can notice the two sides after doing one but not the other. Yeah, so then the left leg will slide across over to meet the right, and the arm slides across over to meet the right. If you wanted to hook an ankle, you can. And if you wanted to grasp right hand to left forearm, you draw up and to the side. And if the feet are hooked, we'll unhook. If the arms are hooked, we'll unhook. Back to our letter X, just for a moment. And from here, friends, let the arms lower down. Let the legs, they could stay wide or you could bring them in a little bit. We'll do one last little thing before Shavasana. It's just like a little energetic reset. So the heels will press into the floor and you'll do a quick pointed flex of the feet and you want it to catch, the heels to catch so your whole body takes a small little jiggle up and down, up and down. And as you do this, can you relax through the belly, through the chest, through the face? Let the whole front of the body be jiggled. And very gradually, we'll let the movement in the feet start to peter out. We'll settle down. And we'll be in Shavasana. And of course, if you need to adjust or create different proppage for yourself, make the most comfortable Shavasana possible for you. Whatever you're meeting the floor, your props, whatever's touching down, can you give weight into gravity? Allow yourself, your body, to embrace the ground. Imagine the back of the body could take up a little bit more space. Spread out a little bigger, a little wider. And you relax your face, your eyes, your mouth. your ears. Your attention back to your body. Start to create a little bit of movement, anything at all. You've been up on some props. You can give yourself a moment to settle without the props. When you're ready, roll over to one side, meet up in a seated shape. No rush at all to get there. Light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.